Why are people leaving the UK or thinking about leaving the UK? The cost of living crisis. We've heard this phrase so often that it's almost become part of our daily vocabulary. It's something that we've come to accept as being normal. But should we accept it as being normal? The quality of life, has it increased or decreased over time? It's only natural that the price of products will increase over time and services, but it's only normal to expect your salary to increase over time. But inflation has increased and people's salary has stayed the same or decreased in some cases. So this leads to a loss in quality of life. What is quality of life to you? It varies from person to person, but I think quality of life means having lower stress levels, being able to comfortably afford the essential items, and this allows you to have more time to focus on your hobbies, your family, your friends, and being able to enjoy life. If your life just becomes all about working to pay for the essentials like your groceries, your rent, energy, utilities, that takes away your energy to invest in life and enjoy life. It just feels like you're constantly on the treadmill making ends meet. And the general feeling is that the UK is going downhill in terms of people having a good quality of life, and people are thinking about moving to other areas. What about yourself? Has your rent, your mortgage, have you noticed an increase in grocery prices? Have you made changes? Have you made cuts in your budget? Are you buying different products instead of the ones that you used to buy before? The housing crisis is exactly that, a crisis. 30, 40 years ago, you could work hard in almost any job, save up a decent amount of money, and be able to afford a house through working hard. And today, it's almost impossible to do that because, yes, London is a very popular city. It's one of the biggest cities in the world, and it's only natural to expect that prices will be high, but they have exploded. So people cannot afford to buy a house, or they are struggling and have to make cuts in other areas of their life. So it makes an interesting question is, what is the quality of life? What makes your day worthwhile? If you have this ambition to own a house, own a piece of property at the expense of your health, it could be your physical health, it could be your mental health, is it worth it? But having that asset can help you in the future. And I think it's only natural that we should aspire and be able to have these things through hard work and effort, yes. But if that hard work and that effort is not being rewarded, and it can leave you with a bitter taste in your mouth, and you can become disillusioned with the state of the country. Quality of life for me is also about the public services that you have access to. London has fantastic transport when it's working and people are not on strike. It's fantastic to get out and about through buses and trains and the tube. But if we think about the other services like the National Health Service, which I think is a fantastic idea, which provides healthcare to everyone, but it's been under an enormous amount of strain. You'll be waiting for a very long time to see a specialist. And then that makes you wonder that should you be getting private healthcare? And then is there a need for the National Health Service? As those things become more difficult to access, again, your quality of life is suffering because you're not having access to good healthcare. The job market also fluctuates depending on what sector you are in, but there can be a lot of competition for jobs. That's only natural. But I get the feeling that people are struggling to find a suitable job, and if they do, the salary is a lot less compared to other countries. And even if the salary is less in other countries, the quality of life is vastly higher. So you have to weigh up what is more important. Brexit has had a big impact on the country, restricting people's freedom of movement and even working abroad in different countries in Europe, also trade. So it's increased the prices of certain products. So you have to ask the question, was that a good idea to leave Europe overall for the state of the whole country? And by the looks of it, it wasn't, because again, people's quality of life has decreased. The weather. We all know the weather is pretty terrible in the UK. That's not a unique selling point for people to visit the UK. But I think it's something that you get used to. You get used to the cycles, the seasons. Yes, you have lots of grey skies. It's very cold, rainy, lots of different types of rain, drizzle, downpours. But it's something that you can get used to. But with these other things crippling and falling down, it just exacerbates the feeling that everything is gloomy when you go outside. So the idea of having more sunshine and feeling happier is an alluring prospect to a lot of people. London and the UK have some fantastic architecture, buildings, great countrysides and nature. But when you are exploring that and the weather's not the best, it can impact how you are experiencing these things. Increased crime rates in the UK may have people thinking about leaving the UK, and they may have valid safety concerns. And it's not just violent crime, it could be robberies, it could be antisocial behavior, and they just want to experience a better quality of life. And in this case, this means your surroundings. And I think it's a great shame, because if we think about antisocial behavior, the people creating this behavior, they're also living in this environment. And it can make you crazy thinking about, why wouldn't they want to live in an area where people feel safe and smiling at each other and getting on with their day and things that they have to do? But I guess they get a certain type of feeling from creating this antisocial behavior, and it's an outlet, albeit a negative outlet. So if we can think about communities and not labeling people as a certain way or certain group, but thinking about a community as a whole, because if our neighbors and our neighbors' neighbors have more opportunities, that impacts not only their quality of life, but our quality of life. So having access to more opportunities, more funding, I think this can improve everyone's well-being. Is the grass always greener on the other side, or is it green where you water it? Well, I think both have valid arguments. If you are in a situation where that's a situation, a location that you have to be in, it makes sense to keep watering it and make it the best that it can be. But sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. And it's a shame, because the UK is a fantastic country. And I think if wages were to increase, if inflation was to drop even further, if there was more focus on the health services, I think people would feel better in terms of their day-to-day living. They would feel a bit happier if there was a greater sense of community. People will generally have a greater sense of well-being, and I think this radiates outward. So it's not just thinking about myself and trying to move forward for myself, but bringing everyone along with you. And if everyone has that type of mentality, it's just like a ripple effect. And it just can't help to bring the whole country forward. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about the future of the UK? What feeling do you get that other people have about the situation in the UK? I get the feeling that from things that I've seen in the media and on social media, people are unhappy with their day-to-day living. They want to leave. And if people want to stay, they are, instead of looking at the overall situation, maybe focusing on a certain demographic or group of people rather than looking at the situation in totality and thinking about how can we move forward together. So what do you think the state of the UK will be like in 5 to 10 years? Please let me know in the comments below.